Hello, everyone, and welcome to Social 5 University. We're excited to have this special session for our direct marketing clients, and we hope you'll get a lot out of it today. We're going to be talking about building your personal brand. I'm Katie Drake. I'm going to be your host. If you have any questions, feel free to ask as we go along, and I'll try and keep an eye on those as we go. And we'll also have a Q&A at the end where you can ask any questions you may have. So with that in mind, let's get started. So I found this quote and I thought it was really pertinent to specifically to you guys as direct marketers. It says, to be in business today, our most important job is to be head marketer for the brand called you. And you may have heard that quote before. It's kind of popular. But I think it's really important because it tells us, that so much of what you're doing as a direct marketer it really is all about you yourself and your reputation and getting people to trust you and want to do business with you. So we're going to just share a few tips as we go through today about how you can build that personal brand and make yourself more reputable and get yourself out there a little bit more. So the first thing I want you to do is to start thinking like you're a brand. You want to start thinking about, what do I want people to think of when they hear my name? What qualities do you want linked to the brand that is you? And while you're thinking about those things, I want you to keep in mind that you definitely still want to be authentic. This is particularly important in the digital age. I also like to say, nobody likes a phony, right? It's really easy in the digital age to find out if someone is being a phony, if they've spoken on other things in the past and, maybe they're not sharing their authentic self. So really stay true to yourself, but try and think of those positive attributes that you want people to associate with your brand name. This is really important because a strong personal brand can really yield a tremendous ROI. And it's almost just as important as, the company you work for. Obviously, they have a really great brand and a really great name because they're industry leaders and people trust them. But you also want to make sure that folks feel the same way about you. So one thing that we're going to have, that I'd like you to do, we've got a great question here. How do you detect a phony? And one way would just be, you see it all the time online, right? Where someone comes out with some sort of a sweeping statement and then someone goes back in the past and finds where they've totally, said the opposite thing in the past or whatever. The other thing you'll see sometimes is people try and brand themselves as an expert or something like that. When they're not really, they're speaking about something that they don't really know about. And it becomes fairly obvious to those who are in the know very quickly that they are, making it up as they go along kind of thing. And Vicki says here, like a politician who contradicts himself or herself. And yeah, that's a good point. It's the same idea with your brand. Obviously brands are going to evolve over time and everything. And if you do need to change positions, that's okay. But you want to be authentic and you want to try and be yourself from the very get-go so that you don't have to make any radical changes as you go along. So the first thing I want you to start off doing is Google yourself. I know that might seem a little silly, but it's a really great way to get started. So right here, I've Googled myself, and you can see there's Katie Drake and all the Katie Drakes who come up online. My personal brand is not very strong. I am not listed amongst these. So I obviously have some work to do as far as that goes, but I'm obviously not trying to sell something by myself, so it's not as important for me to have a strong personal brand as it would be for some of you guys. So see what's out there and what you're up against. I discovered doing this that there's apparently a Katie Drake who is a country music singer, and a bunch of those photos are of her. There's also several doctors named Katie Drake. Apparently, I missed the calling in that regard. And, there's just a whole bunch of different folks with the same name as me. So that's something you want to kind of look at and see, who your competition is for your personal brand, right? And see what you need to do to differentiate yourself. So, what digital footprints are you missing out there? Obviously, this one Katie Drake has a website with her name in it, and it's my name too, right? KatieDrakeSongs.com. So if I wanted to have a better personal brand, something I could do is add a website address with my name in it. Or I can make sure that my Twitter profile is better updated, or my LinkedIn, or things like that. So that's going to help a lot, is looking at those digital footprint pieces that you might be missing. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, if you don't have a Twitter profile, or whatnot. And again, you don't have to have us here at Social 5 doing that for you. You can still do that on your own. And it doesn't have to be updated super often, but just having it is going to be really helpful. And then the other thing you can do is you can consider using like your middle initial or a nickname or something like that if you need to differentiate from the person up there. Okay, and thanks, Vicki. One of our commenters says here that I should bill myself as Katie Drake, SMD, social media doctor. So I can fix your Facebook page if I can't fix your body and mind, right? So thanks, Vicki. That's really sweet. So yeah, if you need to differentiate yourself somehow, you might need to think of a way to do that as a person. The other thing you can do is you can set up a Google alert so that you'll be notified if you or someone else with your name is mentioned in any way. And that way you can kind of get a handle on what's going on out there in the world with the same folks who share your name. And you hopefully want to set it up so that it's a Google alert just for you, and so that you hopefully start seeing like your name and your company name together and things like that, so that you can start increasing that pull that you have digitally. So the next thing I want to talk about is showing yourself. We oftentimes, just see a company logo or something like that. And a really great way to help build your personal brand is to personalize it with a picture of yourself. But please, please, please don't be this guy, okay? We don't want this type of photo. So let's talk a little bit about the online image that you want to convey through your profile pictures and things like that. So you're going to want to do a headshot, and here's some of the things it should include. It needs to be professional. It should focus on your face, and you should be smiling, right? You want to look pleasant and happy and eager to do business with people. You want it to be high resolution. We see a lot of folks who have a really grainy profile picture, and you want it to make sure that it's really nice. And then you want to feature only one person in your profile picture. That's a big one. A lot of folks have problems with, they'll post a photo that's like a family photo or something, and so it will have pictures of more than one person, or it'll be two girls out having fun or something like that. And the trouble there is that it makes it really difficult to tell which person is the one who's supposed to be in the photo. I don't know if you've ever seen that on Facebook, where there'll be a profile picture that will have two young girls with their arms around each other at a concert or something like that, right? And it makes it really difficult. You're like, which one is the one I'm supposed to know, right? Oh, it sounds like some of you are having trouble with the audio. I'm sorry about that. Our web connection here at the office is not always the greatest, so I'm so sorry. Can you guys go ahead and raise your hand if you are hearing me okay? Okay, great. Awesome. So the other thing you want to think about as a profile picture is you might want it to be something that can be appropriate for all the seasons. Maybe you don't have it yourself in your Christmas sweater or something, right? That way you're just not having to change it all the time and it still looks current. So something just kind of neutral, seasonally appropriate. The other thing is it really needs to be recent. You don't want to be like this guy and rocking a photo from 1984, right? You want to be something that is new and that looks like you. That's the most important part. It needs to look like you. And it can be the best you that you can be, right? It can look like you on a really good day, but it does need to look like yourself. You don't want to do like a glamour shot or something like that that doesn't look like you. And one of the things that our chief marketing officer likes to say is that you need to remember that, you're trying to create connections out there and everything, but this isn't a dating site. It's not the place for, your super hot smoking, going to the club outfit or whatever. I personally don't have one of those, so I don't know if you guys do either, but, it's not a dating site. It's a professional place where you're going to be trying to make professional connections. So make sure you keep that in mind. Okay, it sounds like the audio is better for some of you, so I hope that is helpful. So the next thing I want to talk about is finding your niche. That's a really important key thing to differentiate yourself from all the other distributors out there, especially in a direct marketing company. So let's talk about that a little bit. What can you do to find your niche and make yourself unique from everybody else? So think first off if there's an area that you want to focus on. And if so, go ahead and own it. Maybe you really want to make yourself the guru on like nutritional supplements for high school athletes or something like that. That's awesome. You should totally go for it. Or maybe, you're an essential oils distributor who really wants to focus on like the household cleaning options that come with essential oils. That's awesome too. There are so many different ways you can go with that. And you can find something that you're interested in that you can focus on. The other thing that you should think about is what areas of expertise do you have that happen outside your product? And you should incorporate those. If you're a really great home cook and you enjoy coming up with recipes with your essential oils, celebrate that and bring some of them out there to experiment with and share with your followers. There's other types of different types of expertise that you may have in different areas. Maybe, if you're a send out cards distributor, maybe you want to make yourself the corporate greeting card specialist versus a personal greeting card specialist. And you want to make yourself available to advise, corporate clients about what type of greeting cards they should send and what's appropriate or something like that. There's a million different areas out there that you can use to take your personal expertise and brand it to your product. And it's really going to make a great difference and it'll really set you apart. Another thing that you can think of in this same regard is what common issues or frustrations do people experience that you or your product can resolve? If there's a common theme that, you feel like your product is really great at solving, whether it's just something that happens to folks every day, whatever it may be, and you have a solution for that, brand that, make that who you are and go ahead and stand out in that way. And the other thing you want to think about is what makes you different from the competition. But the really important part here is that you want to think positive. We don't want to be putting down other brands online or anything like that. If you're one type of essential oil distributor versus the other competition or something like that, you don't want to put them down. You just want to raise yourself up and you want to think positive and talk about the positive differences that you see in your product and why it's, better than the competition, right? And focus on those positive things and how it can help people. And this is, obviously, if you're a direct marketer, you're going to have a lot of other people who are marketing the same product. But even with that, you can still find a way to make it your own and focus on some of these different areas that'll just make everybody slightly unique and give you all a little bit of your own business. All right. One thing that I really want you to focus on as you're going through this is having a purpose and producing value on your social channels. So you want to remember that this is a personal brand, right? And it exists beyond your business page. So, we're going to be posting really relevant content on your Facebook business page for you. But it's really important that you have a personal page that backs up that brand, because that's going to be important as well when you're a direct marketing distributor. People are going to be trusting you as a person, and that's why they're going to buy stuff from you. So here's something I stumbled across this a while ago, and I actually follow it now on Facebook because I think it's just so funny. But this is a page called the World's Most Boring Facebook or World's Most Boring Posts. And here's a couple that I saw that I thought were funny. I switched deodorant today. I can't quite tell if it's working. I don't like losing the hour, but resetting the clock is always much easier in the spring than in the fall, right? So they're just, I think we all know someone who posts stuff like this on Facebook, whether it's, hey, I'm doing the laundry or out mowing the lawn or whatever. And they're very well meaning and they're often very, very nice people, but they're posting stuff that's really mundane and that just doesn't really add any value to the conversation that's happening on social media. So I really want you to think about that. Is there a reason why you're posting about, what you're cooking for dinner tonight or whatever, right? So really focus on that and try and have something that has purpose and value. So here's a couple things to focus on. You want to try and provide useful information. That's a really big one. If it's something that could help people, whether it's relevant to your product or not, that's great. People are going to be like, oh, I love, whatever Joanne posts because she always posts good recipes or helpful tips or cool stuff to see in my city around the holidays or anything like that. So things that your friends and neighbors will find useful and that will make them want to be friends with you on Facebook or on Twitter or LinkedIn. You want to try and focus on things that are going to bring new and innovative ideas to the conversation. You don't want to just, share whatever somebody has said already and it's been shared a million times. Obviously, that's good because it does help with virality and algorithms and stuff like that. But really, if there's something going on that people are talking about, share your own thoughts. Don't just parrot someone else's. Put together a post and really show that you can speak intelligently about this issue and bring some innovative ideas and back it up with hard facts and everything like that. Same idea here with checking your news sources on things. You want to make sure that you, don't just repost something blindly. You want to make sure that it's actually true. And so we've got a good question here. If you represent someone else's brand as a representative from a company, how can you bring a new and innovative ideas to the public? And the thing that we need to remember here is that right now we're talking about your personal Facebook page, right? This is all about your personal brand. So you're going to have stuff on your company Facebook page as well. And these are good rules to follow then as well. But this is also for your personal page. So you're going to have your company page where we're posting for you. And you can obviously hop on and post there too. But this is just in your personal life as you go about life. Try and keep these things in mind on Facebook so that people will turn to you as like a thought leader and someone who's well respected. You want to support your brand and your online image. So again, if you have something that you're going to be an expert on, or you're trying to create yourself as a specific expert in some field, you'll want to post things that support that. And you just want to go beyond the mundane. It's maybe really impressive that you washed and folded and put away 11 loads of laundry in a day, but no one really cares, right? And so really try and focus on those things that will add value and that people are going to look at that and go, wow, that was really good information, or wow, that really got me thinking, something along those lines, okay? And this is a great takeaway here is that a medium is no substitute for a message. So just because you have a Facebook page doesn't mean that it's going to automatically have a message and good content just because you're posting on it, right? The messaging also needs to be strong. Okay. All right, so the last thing I want to suggest here is that you want to try and get a boost from other brands. Your personal brand is strengthened or weakened by other brands that you associate with. So that's really an important thing to think about. Now, luckily, you guys as direct marketers already have a really strong corporate brand in your corner, right? They're these big companies that have a lot of sway in their market and are really industry leaders. So you're already ahead in that regard. But here are some other things that you want to do. You want to leverage other brands that can help build your personal brand. And I really liked this start with the 3 C's: company, college, and colleagues. So start by thinking about, what groups are out there that I can join. Does my college have an alumni association that I could be part of? What about a networking group in my area, right? Or a chamber of commerce? What about a trade organization that, specializes in my specific, if I'm doing nutraceutical sales, maybe there's an athletic association I could join or something along those lines, right? So think about those types of groups that you can join, whether it's something from, your college days, from a company that you've worked for, or colleagues that might be in your industry, right? So remember those 3 C's with all these things. Another option is you can write a guest post, like in your company newsletter, or try and be featured on your college's Facebook page or in an alumni newsletter or something along those lines. Try and get yourself out there and to be featured by those brands. And then lastly, just think about what other opportunities your company presents. A lot of companies do, a newsletter where they're spotlighting new people, in the downline or whatever. Volunteer to be spotlighted. Really put yourself out there and try and connect with those. You can also think of these when you're connecting with people like on LinkedIn and things like that, other folks in your company, other people who went to your college, and other colleagues that you may have in the industry. And really by using those 3 C's, you're going to build a network for yourself of people who are going to go like, oh, hey, they're in my networking group. They're really well respected. Or, yeah, I saw them. They're in my alumni organization. And, I really respect them because I know we went to a really great school. Something along those lines can really help. All right. Well, with that in mind, we'll go ahead and open up for some questions. I know you guys have asked a few as we've gone along, but if you have any more, feel free to ask right now. I hope this was helpful to you guys and gave you some great ideas for building your own brand as you go about this. I know that's hard as a direct marketer because you obviously have the company brand too, right? And you want to promote that, but you also want to make sure that you're presenting yourself in the best light so that people will see you as a trusted source. All right. Any other questions? It doesn't look, oh, here we go. Is there a checklist for branding? What about how to start or improve one specific social media channel? So a checklist would kind of be basically what we've talked about, right? You're going to want to make sure that you have those digital footprints online, right? That you have all those social channels and that you've started those. And then you're going to just want to build that network, kind of like what we talked about at our last webinar, where you're going out, you're trying to make those connections and really thinking of those 3 C's, right? That you can go out and try and find folks who can boost your brand in that way. So, I would say that's a fairly good checklist right there is just what we've talked about today. If you did all of those things, you would be in really good shape. All right. Any other questions before we sign off? Okay. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. We're going to be posting this online, so if you have friends or colleagues who wanted to watch but didn't get a chance, feel free. Oh, yes, and we've got one more question here. Is the last webinar recorded because you missed it? Yes, and I believe I sent out a link to it in the last invite that came with this webinar. So you should have a link to the YouTube video right there. If not, you can find it on the S5U page. So yeah, and if you can't find that, go ahead and send us an email over at support@social5.com and we'll get you the link set up. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but we do have it posted so you can watch the last one about building your network. So, all right, well, thanks so much for being here, you guys. Oh, we've got a few more. Where are the videos online? They're on our blog. And I, of course, can't remember we have one blog that's specifically for our direct marketing clients. And I, of course, can't remember the name of it right now, but it is, or the URL, but it is the one that is in the link from this invitation. So if you go back to the invitation you got to this webinar, it will have a link there that has the link to the last webinar that we did about building your network. So I'm sorry, you guys, I should have been more prepared for that. Anyway, well, thank you all so much for being here. I hope this was helpful to you. If you think of any questions as you go along, feel free to shoot us over an email, and we're happy to answer that for you. And we'll just go ahead and see you guys next month for our special direct marketing webinar again. I hope you guys all have a great Thanksgiving. If you want to get any special posts out or anything, give us a holler over the holidays. We're always happy to help you. Again, our support line is there, support@social5.com. We're always happy to help you. Hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you again in December. Thanks.